Hello, I'm Brian K. Smith, the Human Potential Specialist. I'm here today with another May I Help You moment. In today's May I Help You moment, I want to give you a diversity lesson. See, those of you who know me and know my work, you understand that I have a passion for being able to convince people and help them understand diversity. For instance, most of you think of diversity and it's a negative word. When I start out talking about diversity, I like to think of it in terms of technology. See, each of us has what I would call a cultural hard drive. That means everything that we've ever experienced in our life is stored up here in our cultural hard drive. And so I'm here today to give you a software upgrade to that cultural hard drive. The software upgrade that I'm going to give today, the improvement to your cultural hard drive, is based on two things. And these two things happened in the media fairly recently, so you should be familiar with them. First thing, if you are paying any attention to television, you know that recently Osama Bin Laden was killed by some Navy SEALs. And when they killed him, the message that they sent back to the headquarters was Geronimo had been killed in action. Now, at first glance, that's not a big problem to you. Geronimo had been killed in action. And that was a code name for Osama Bin Laden, Geronimo. Here's the diversity lesson. Here's the software upgrade. Ask yourself, why did we have to associate one of the most wanted terrorists in American history with Geronimo? That's right. Think about that. At first glance, there's nothing wrong with that. When you start thinking, oh, well, Geronimo caused some problems for our history, for our country way back in the Wild Wild West. He was a Chiricahua Apache, and he killed some white settlers, etc., etc. Right, I understand that. However, if you ask the Chiricahuas who Geronimo was, he was a hero. And one of the things that always makes me think of when I start trying to teach this type of diversity lesson is an old African proverb. Lions will cease to be man-eaters when hunters stop being historians. Lions will cease to be man-eaters when hunters stop being historians. And so what I want you to think about is there are lots of villains that we could have used from American history. Why didn't we say Dillinger? Why didn't we give him a code name of Dillinger? Why didn't we give him a code name of Christopher Columbus? Some people think he was a terrorist. George Washington, Timothy McVeigh. There are lots of other people that we could have used, but we chose Geronimo. And all I want to point out is, in us asserting our positive nature and our positive values, we don't have to denigrate someone else. If you want all of America to celebrate that we finally captured Osama Bin Laden, one of the most wanted terrorists according to our nation, then you want everyone in the nation to participate. How do you think the Chiricahuas who are still left feel, knowing that you named this terrorist or code named this terrorist after one of their heroes or legends? It would be similar to, just like I said, if you named him George Washington. You don't want George Washington to be associated with Osama Bin Laden. I'm not sure that the First Nation people are so happy that Geronimo is now associated with Osama Bin Laden either. Why didn't we just call him Hitler? Why didn't we call him Pretty Boy Floyd? We have 1,000 people to choose from. Or we could have given him a fictitious name or an animal name, such as Wolverine. Why didn't we do that? Because we still haven't learned. Second lesson. I've been watching the NBA playoffs. And the NBA has gone out of its way to try to clean up its image, and particularly Kobe Bryant's image, after he called someone a fag. Now, I'm not condoning Kobe's language, and I applaud the NBA for their lessons. But here's the funny thing. They've gone out of their way. They got the commercial with the kids on the court, and they all are talking trash. And then one of them makes a mistake and says, hey, that's so gay. And then you get the NBA player that comes on and says, nope, foul, hold up, you can't do that. No, because you just used the word gay, and you used it to mean something negative. And they tell you all about how wrong you are for doing that. This is where we have one of those moments. Arsenio Hall used to say things that make you go, Well, this is one of those things that makes you go, Here it is. Perhaps the NBA should use that same leverage, should use the same marketing approach to help people stop using the N-word. Most of their players use the N-word all the time. And if you hear the camera, and you can hear it on television, hey, N-word, please. Hey, man, pass me the ball. N-word, don't do that. This, that, etc. There are lots of words that the NBA could choose to promote as improper and inappropriate for young people to be out throwing around because of the negative connotations. But once again, we have this thing in our country of putting a hierarchy to hatred, a hierarchy to words. Like it's okay for you to use certain words to offend certain people, but we're going to be protective of other people and their identities. I don't think that that's right. And I'm here today to help you understand that concept. And the next time you start hearing these words, just because it's not your group that they're talking about, you still have an obligation to speak up on behalf of those groups that are being abused and denigrated. You need to understand that we're all in this together. And I don't want to see any one group, their hatred promoted over some other person. And that's exactly what we did in today's two examples. By naming Osama Bin Laden Geronimo, and by the NBA deciding that they're going to do a campaign against using the word gay, as opposed to any of the other offensive words that the members of the NBA are out using on a regular basis, they basically decided, hey, some people's images are just worth protecting, while other people's are not. And I'm not saying anything against those people of any of those communities. What I am saying is, let's get it right this time. You think that we've been here long enough, we've had this discussion long enough, that we ought to start being a little bit more honest and a little bit more open and a little bit more direct in terms of protecting everyone's image. I'm Brian K. Smith, reminding you to master and nurture your unlimited potential. Have a nice day.